So Rupert Lowe, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I don't quite know where to start. When I look at this report, I don't think this tells you all of the leakage that's taking place. If I was on the end of a report like this, I'd certainly not be complacent. So when I read, some areas of the MOD do not consider fraud to be a major risk and can be reluctant to engage. So I look at this, and I run lots of contracting business, we do lots of procurement, and I just don't think there's any joined up thinking evident here at all. And you're going to be spending a lot more than you're currently spending. Your whatever it is, 46 billion, is likely to go up to 75 billion. So if these endemic sort of cultural and structural inefficiencies continue, there's going to be more leakage, and therefore more taxes are going to be required on the private sector. So I think this is really very concerning. And I'd like to know, Jeremy, really, how are you going to improve this, and are you going to give it the seriousness that it requires?
I said at the outset of this hearing, Mr. Lowe, that I take this seriously. There is absolutely no room for complacency. It's the heart of my job, the job of everyone on this panel, but the department as well, to make sure that we are maximising the value we get from every pound of taxpayers' spend. That requires the controls in place. It requires
Can I just interrupt you, because you're talking generalities here, so through the report. Theft of assets. Around 2/3 of these reports related to lost assets, with theft making up only 13%. Can you define lost assets, question, personnel and management issues, and information exploitation, failure to follow gifts and hospitality rules, abuse of flexible working time, and deceit and misrepresentation of financial advantage, unlawfully obtaining and disclosing official documentation. I mean, look, this is serious stuff. So please don't talk generalities. What are you practically going to do to sort this out?
There is no disagreement.
These aren't generalities. These are actual events.
There is no disagreement between us on the seriousness and the importance of the issue. I will talk specifically about assets, and then I will talk about the wider strategy to deal with fraud, because there is actually a whole set of different issues that you are raising there. Control of assets is very important in a department like the Ministry.
So what is something lost? When you say lost assets, most of them are apparently lost. What does that mean? Does anyone get punished for losing an asset? In my business, if somebody loses an asset, if there's no justification for losing it, they have to pay for it.
We record and follow up all lost assets. The process is underpinned by our security control framework, where it happens.
Well, you can have as many risk registers, as many processes, as many sort of analytical tools. In the end, you've got to send people to prison for being dishonest. And that's what you would do. I know we've got issues with the courts who don't punish people properly, but in the end, people have got to fear that when they break the law, when they're deceitful, when they steal, they go to prison. Perhaps you should start by getting your counter-fraud and the police teams to actually trust and work together. And that's your cultural problem. If people don't work together, nothing happens. So look, I think, Jeffrey, I've done my bit for now.
Well, I'd just like to build on that.
Cash walked into this hearing thinking it would be just another routine exchange. Ask a few questions, get some polished, well-rehearsed answers, maybe push a little, but ultimately walk away without anything really changing. But within seconds, it becomes very clear this is not going to go that way. Because the moment Robert Lowe starts speaking, the tone shifts completely. There's no warm-up, no hesitation, just immediate concern. He looks at the report and doesn't see reassurance. He sees warning signs, serious ones, billions of pounds being spent, numbers rising rapidly, and yet the systems in place to protect that money look fragmented, disconnected, and in some cases, completely ineffective. And what really stands out is this. Parts of the system don't even treat fraud as a serious risk. Think about that. Not a priority, not urgent, just something acknowledged, but not truly acted on. And that's where the frustration starts to build. Because Lowe isn't just speaking as a politician. He's speaking as someone who runs real businesses, deals with real procurement, real accountability. He knows what proper oversight looks like. And what he's seeing here isn't it. Then comes the moment that changes everything. He interrupts. not to be rude, but because he's heard enough general talk. And he asks a simple, direct question. What does lost assets actually mean? It's not complicated. It's not political. It's basic accountability. But instead of a clear, direct answer, what follows is exactly what frustrates people watching. More explanations, more frameworks, more process language, everything except a straight answer. And that's when Lowe pushes harder, because now it's obvious. This isn't just miscommunication. This is avoidance. He starts listing what's actually in the report: theft of assets, deceit, misrepresentation for financial gain, abuse of systems, unlawful handling of official information. These are not small issues, these are serious breaches. And yet, where are the consequences? Where is the accountability? Who is being held responsible? Because from what we're hearing, it's all being tracked, recorded, processed, but not truly punished. And Lowe cuts straight through all of it with one powerful comparison. In my business, if someone loses an asset, they pay for it. Simple, clear, immediate accountability, no gray area. But here, assets are lost, and no one can even properly define what that means. No one can clearly say who is responsible. No one can say what happens next. And that's the real turning point of this entire exchange. Because now it's no longer about one report. It's about a culture, a system where processes exist, but consequences don't, where risks are identified, but not taken seriously, where money flows, but responsibility disappears. And then Lowe delivers the line that hits the hardest. He says, in the end, if people steal, if they lie, if they abuse the system, they should go to prison. Not reviewed, not managed, not buried under paperwork. Punished. Because without real consequences, nothing changes. No policy fixes that. No framework fixes that. Only accountability does. And right now, that's exactly what seems to be missing. This wasn't just a hearing. It was a moment where the gap between process and reality was exposed, live, in real time. And if nothing changes after this, then the problem he's warning about, the leakage, the waste, the failure, it's not slowing down anytime soon. It's only going to grow.